Hi, welcome back to our review of the Jared Bridegan case. I'm Christine Burke. This is Help Solve the Case, and we are reviewing the initial police reports in this case. If you don't know what this case is about, it is a alleged, premeditated, planned homicide of an ex-husband that occurred in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. And why is it of interest to me? Because I'm a retired police detective and sergeant from Florida, not Jacksonville. I didn't work in Jacksonville area, but I did live there. And so this is like walking right down the street where I used to be all the time. So this is of great interest to me for a number of reasons. So many interesting things that are going on in the case. I'm glad to have you here. Let's see what we can figure out. I'll give you some law enforcement expertise, my commentary. We'll see where it goes. And I love for you to ask your questions. I really appreciate you being here, liking, sharing, and subscribing, because from this work and from your participation and from what Google does for me, I can then give back working on more cases and helping more people. So again, thanks for being here. Now this crime happened in the nighttime, but I want to give you, this is the intersection, all right? It is bringing back so many memories as I see the North Florida landscape. It is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this is Jacksonville Road and Sanctuary Drive. We're just going to take a look here at the neighborhood. Typical brick houses as we see in North Florida. The lush trees, the landscaping, and it just is an intersection in a beautiful community. Look at it, well landscaped. This is from Google Images from 2026. Lake Sanctuary, we see like a little lake there. I mean, look, it is just a beautiful neighborhood for such a tragic thing to happen. Okay, so let's get into our police report here. And we want to move this down for you. And I want to say a thank you to CrimetimeLines.com for publishing these police reports, so I didn't have to go and get them myself. So a shout out to them. All right, here we go. And please ask questions. Okay, so here we have our incident reports, and there's so much to tell about the different things and the different ways that police reports play a part in a police investigation. And they can be used for a wide range of things. I don't have a copy of my book, Police 101, specifically talks about all the different types of police reports and the types of documents that are generated through the police department, what they mean and what they mean to an investigation. And I love going through the police reports. Agencies do things differently. We'll see what happens. We'll go through here, but this should be the basis for the information for the case. Now, we've talked about in other videos different cases about body cam footage versus documented police reports, and old school Sarge here says it's got to go in the report. We've seen numbers of times when the body cam footage has failed, and that is not good. Okay, so we always need to remember, in my opinion, as officers, to remember everything, to remember as much as you can and document it and observe it in the police report. So we'll see what we have here regarding the crime. And I will say again, this is a death investigation, a definitive death investigation. We have 3 parties that have been arrested and are facing trial, but everybody is innocent until proven guilty. All right. And so we are just going to go through this. I do provide a law enforcement expert opinion in a wide variety of things. I'm also a forensic genetic genealogist. I believe we're going to be talking about some DNA here, but this is not a formal opinion. But if you need some help on a case and you want to talk to me, please reach out because I can help you with that. All right. So we have here our case number 22-00 00517. And then we have a CAD event number here, 2202160096. Now this is interesting. And if you want to know more about how the police operates, you can join my Help Solve the Case Investigations Academy, where we're going to walk through an entire case, through the different aspects, through the different viewpoints of the different departments in the police department, from patrol, dispatch, investigations, supervisory, all kinds of things with a real live case. But CAD stands for Computer Aided Dispatch. All right. And how the numbers get assigned and how that information gets in there can be important for a number of reasons. So here we have a CAD event number. That is the incident that came into dispatch about how they were notified about the call. And it is not a case number. And why do we have two different numbers there? Well, join me in the class and we can talk about it. I would love to have you hear more information in the community about how to sign up. So what it tells us here is that the incident occurred. It's a death investigation, right? Now, this is the initial incident report. So it is not necessarily going to say homicide, because where do we get our determination of the type of death and the manner of death? We get that from the medical examiner. So officers, all we know right now is we have a death of an individual. And so that is the type of case. It is a death investigation. The report date is February 16th, 2022. And the reporting officer, this is the person that should be this report, Julie Melinda Spurrier. And she has a badge number S2893. And the incident occurred at Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Way North. I showed you that. Jacksonville Beach, Florida, and it was on or from 2/16/2022 between 1950 and 1959, so within a 9-minute window. Okay, beat 3, that talks about the assignment, the patrol assignment, where the police officers are working. You get assigned a beat, a zone, whatever you want to call it, and then a grid might be something related to the beat, or it might be something related to the town. And they're saying the jurisdiction is Jacksonville Beach Police Department. Okay, we got the case is open. That means they didn't solve it at the time they wrote this report. And this was approved by Ciro David Young on February 17th, 2022. So that doesn't tell us, it says the report date 2/16. But this is what I personally find a problem with some of these new police reports. They don't show, I want to know when that police report was written. And it does not detail reported 2/16/1959. See, in our reports, we had the date the incident occurred, and we had when it was reported, when you took the report. So we have something unknown here. I'm not sure what the unknown is. It doesn't say the suspect is unknown. I don't know. And it says page 1 of 2, total pages. Okay, and it says, here's the narrative. On 2/16/2022, at approximately 19:59 hours, I was dispatched to Jacksonville Drive, Sanctuary Way North in reference to possible gunshots. So it came out as gunshots. Detectives arrived on scene and assumed the investigation. Okay, so that's very interesting, and I've talked about this in other videos. To me, the initial officer, the patrol officer, and this is again what we're going to talk about in the Help Solve the Case Investigations Academy, who should be doing what and why. And I don't like this because the initial report should be taken by the initial officer. The initial officer that responds is so critical. And it seems to me, because we don't have a supplement number here, this is a terrible, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, I don't want this. I want the initial officer to write the initial report the way it has always been. But we continue. Okay, because, let me back up. Because there's a lot of things that gets done by this initial officer, like the officer just came at 19:59 and the detectives arrived on the scene and assumed the investigation? Like at 19:59 hours? Or at 2100 hours? At 0130? Like, right? That says nothing. This tells you nothing. What detectives? When did they arrive? What happened? Because it says death. What happened? It says death. Gunshots. Gunshots, not death. A gunshot call is not a death call. Okay? So, I don't like it. But that's my opinion. Okay. Now we get to supplement. Because that says incident. This is the original. Nothing. There's nothing here. 2 sentences. Sarge says pooey. Okay. So now we're going to get to supplement number 1. Supplements go in order. They should be written in order. They have numbers for a reason, so you can keep track of them. Okay. Now, we've got the same case number. We should have the same CAD event number, same report date. It's always good to make sure you're checking the stuff because it could be the wrong thing. Now we have Aaron Danielle Filbert. And this location is 101 Penman Road South, Jacks Beach at 9:57. So is that a detective? See the difference? 1959 to 21:57 is a long time away, right? And this is at 101 Penman Road South, Jacks Beach, Florida. That is the Jacks Beach Police Department. That is not the scene, right? Because the scene is Jacksonville Drive Sanctuary Way. I don't know what this unknown is. Beat 299. Okay, so here we have the victim, Jared Galen Bridegan. It's Marcy's Law, so there must be in Florida some victim law that you don't have the information put out there. Witnesses, okay, we've got Zoraida, I don't know if it's Verge or Verge, 7201 Arlington Expressway, cell phone. This information probably should not be on here. Probably should have been redacted, but they didn't. Osiris Verge Calderon. So probably husband and wife, maybe. Jonelle Marie Cruz. Shane Villanova Borja. And then we have another Kirsten Elizabeth Bridegan, wife of victim 1, V1 is victim 1, and mother of 56 Brooksy. Land vehicles. We've got a 2018 victim's vehicle, 2018 Volkswagen. What LL is, black. Redacted for Marcy's Law. We've got a Hyundai. And we've got a Honda. And we've got 14, looks like evidence. I'm going to assume, I don't know, it's with an E. E for evidence. Digital discs. Photo disc and log 1. Interesting here for our chain of custody. Evidence, yes. Okay, this looks like the box is continuing. Evidence, yes. Custody. It's not wet. And it's evidence. Okay. That is Article 14. Okay, so here's my question. Where's 1 through 14? Automatically. Where's 1 through 14? Here's 17. Where's 15, 16? We don't know. 17. A Bush beer can. West side of roadway, marker number 11. Evidence. 18. Clothes fur, pair of socks. White with red and blue, west side of roadway, marker 12. Evidence. 25. We're missing a lot of items here, aren't we? Evidence. Digital disc, day 2. Photo disc and log. So it looks like they went out a second day or stayed out there a second day. 26. Evidence. Biological biospecimen. DNA swab control. 1 of 3. I don't know what they took it off of because it doesn't say here. Location of DNA sample. Report is not finished. Sarge is upset. Terrible. DNA swab, lip of beer can. Okay. Shaft of beer can. Okay. 29. I don't know what an SK is. Miscellaneous keys. SK. It's not evidence. Safekeeping, probably. We have to guess. We have to guess. So maybe those are the keys from the car that was at the scene? Not sure. Article 30. SK. Safekeeping. AirPods. Not evidence. Why would car keys and AirPods, if they were found at the scene, not be evidence? Even if they were safekeeping. Look, and our numbers. We're missing numbers. Latent prints. Looks like evidence. 1 of 2. From shaft of beer can. So I'm guessing, since this is supplement 1, they pulled them like right then. Your guess is as good as mine. We're reading this together. 34, latent prints. Latent print of 2 of 2 from shaft of can. Photo log. Okay, so this is from, what's her name? Erin. And we don't know who she is, what she did, what all this stuff is. Maybe she's CSI, we don't know. Hopefully it will explain to us. On 2/16/2022, I responded to the area on Sanctuary Boulevard between Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Parkway to a report of a person having been shot. Upon arrival, I observed 2 white cars parked on Sanctuary Boulevard. California tag and Florida tag. Were they white? I have to check. I can't help it. I can't help it. White. Florida, California. Okay, just making sure. We wanted to see who's involved. California, and a black Volkswagen SUV with the tag blocked out stopped with hazards on and an open driver's side door further south of the white cars. I observed a damaged tire on the ground in front of the Volkswagen. All of the listed vehicles were facing southbound on Sanctuary Boulevard. So let's go take a look. So Sanctuary Boulevard between J Drive and Sanctuary Parkway. Okay. So here's Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Boulevard that we were looking at. Okay, with that house with the lake right there. And they said, so it was right up here. Let me see if I can get the, because between Jacksonville Drive on Sanctuary Boulevard, between Sanctuary Parkway and Jacksonville Drive. So right here, and they were facing southbound. So southbound is right here. Okay. Okay, so we were up here at this intersection. This is where the split happens, and this is the southbound, okay? So it would have been somewhere right along here. So beautiful. Look at, what are you thinking? Bushes you can hide in, right? Nobody will see you. But it could only fit 1 car, right? So one might say this is the perfect spot because if there's a tire there, let me back up. You can't go anywhere. You'd have to go up on the curb, right? And people wouldn't want to. I have a truck. I don't care. But people were going to wreck their car, right? So good guy probably just was getting out to remove the tire because then nobody can continue. But we can see, depending on, we don't know the exact area, but look at this, it's pretty dense coverage here. Okay. Officer Corey, 1204, and Sergeant Smith, 792, and I all arrived on scene at nearly the same time. While Sergeant Smith and Officer Corey went up to the victim's vehicle, I made initial contact with the other two vehicles. I checked on their well-being while gathering their information. In the white vehicle with Florida tag, Zareta Verge was the driver and Osiris Verge Calderon was the passenger. In the white vehicle with California tag, Jonelle Cruz was the driver and Shane Villanueva Borgia was the passenger. I observed Sergeant Smith attempting CPR on the victim who was laying on the ground to the west of the vehicle and by the open driver's side door. To the west of the vehicle, and the vehicle's going southbound. The driver's side door is going to be on the east side. Yeah? Right? Parked further south of the white cars. Okay, so maybe we're going the other way. Parked further south. Okay, yes. So he would have had to have been coming this way in order for it to be west. And then being south. Okay, my error. Okay, so he was coming back through here. So potentially Bridegan lived in this neighborhood. Okay, but still, look at all this area. Okay, so it sounds like we're coming here. Okay. Now we're oriented. Okay. To the west of the vehicle by the open driver's side door, I observed a large amount of blood in an area where the victim was originally laying before being moved by Sergeant Smith in order to perform CPR. Great notes in the report. Love that. So we don't have to ask questions later. Love it. Here's why. I also noticed another area of pooled blood underneath the victim as he laid on his back. The victim was a white male in his 30s with brown hair and wearing a blue shirt and gray pants. I observed he had, it says brown flip-flop instead of flip-flops. One flip-flop was on his foot and the other laid slightly south of his body. I also observed a gold-colored ring on the victim's left ring finger. The body was covered with a white sheet after it was assessed by rescue units and covered again with an emergency blanket. I ran the vehicle tag through NCIC, FCIC, retained the return for Jared Bridegan as being one of the registered owners. Based on that information, I then checked the information through David in an attempt to make an identification of the subject, and I made that identification. That could be the DMV. That's new to me. I collect that information as well as emergency contact information for his listed wife, Kirsten. Now this says Kristen. Is it Kirsten or Kristen? Elizabeth Bridegan. There was reportedly a child in the vehicle at the time of the incident. Well, was there did you see one or did you not? I mean, during my initial contact with the other vehicles and occupants of those, I saw the child. Villanueva Borgia stated he pulled the child out of the vehicle after he noticed the seriousness of the incident. After that, the child stayed in his and his girlfriend Jonelle Cruz's care. I observed the child was wrapped in a blanket and had what appeared to be pajamas on. The child responded to the name, quote, Brooksy, end quote. How did they know the child's name? How'd they know the child's name? You come up on a random car with a dead person or a shot person and the child in the back. How do you know the child's name when nobody's talking to you? Oh, guess she said. Okay. Said she was 2 years old. Okay, she said her name. Okay, sorry. She did not appear to have any physical injuries. I did not observe any contusions, abrasions, or blood on her. You're getting it as it comes, folks. The child was calm and appeared to be comfortable with Cruz, so she remained with her while I completed copying involved parties' information for this report and to supply with detectives. Do we have body-worn camera? I haven't seen anything on this. Corporal Santiago arrived on scene, took control of the child from Cruz, and transported her to the Jacksonville Beach police station. I did not inquire or ask any questions regarding the facts of this case with any witnesses outside of if they had any suspect information and if they had any injuries themselves while I was collecting information. During my interaction, I did not receive any suspect information that I would have been able to relay to other officers on duty. Sergeant Young requested the cell phone inside the vehicle be photographed so that it could be collected immediately rather than waiting for the entire scene to be processed. I assisted with taking several photographs of where the phone was originally located in the vehicle prior to being collected by Sergeant 795. I guess that's Sergeant Young, from the vehicle. I observed 2 holes in the vehicle consistent with that of a projectile. One hole was in the center, so I'm trying to think, they shot through the car, but they put the tire there. So, right? You see where I'm going with this? But now, the holes are in the car, like from the side, while he was driving, or when he got out. So let's see. One hole was in the center console dash area to the lower right of the steering wheel. The other appeared to be in the middle left area of the passenger side door, under the window and close enough to cause the window glass to spider but not break out. While looking into the victim's vehicle to retrieve the cell phone, I did briefly observe several blood stains. So, do we have bullets coming this way? Or do we have bullets going this way? I wish we had more direction, because where I'm going with this is, was the person shooting this way at the car, or this way at the car, or this way at the car, right? Where I'm looking, where's the person hiding? On the ground around the victim, I observed 3 bullet casings. 2 were northwest slightly from the victim, and the other 2 appeared to be west and to the south slightly from the body. Okay. We're gonna pretend this is our scene here. Right? And we have our person somewhere. Okay. Two were northwest, slightly from the victim. Which way are we going? Northwest. Northwest. Let's do this. One, two. And the other 2 appear to be west and to the south. Now let's remember, so we have our, if this is our steering wheel, we've got one round here that we don't know. which way it went. We're going to assume this way. And then we've got one, if we say the window is over here. Okay, so I'm going to make an initial theory here that these two, one of them went here and one of them went here. Okay, so we have 2 holes in the car that we know of right now and 4 casings. Okay. Oh, 3. Oh, the report is wrong. On the ground around the victim, I observed 3 bullet casings. 2 were northwest slightly, and the other 2. How many is that? That's 4, isn't it? The 2 casings to the south of the body were in close proximity that were easy to see and avoid. I placed a blank department field contact card next to the casing to the furthest. Okay, so there's only 1 up there. So there's only 1 up here. We have to get rid of 1. Okay. When the medical examiner arrived, I assisted with photographing several photographs to avoid cross-contamination with the medical examiner and his camera. I don't know what that means. The body was not moved after Sergeant Smith attempted CPR, and the deceased was assessed by rescue until the medical examiner arrived on scene to process the body. Once the body was moved and turned by the medical examiner, a silver color projectile was located under the body. There's our 3rd round. Okay, there's our 3rd round. So we've got one. When they rolled him over, looks like we've got, which color did we use? This color. We got one. We'll put it right there. We got one under the victim. Okay. As the medical examiner was assessing the body, I observed 2 holes in the shirt in the area of the left shoulder. It doesn't say what part of the body, whether he's face up or face down. Let's assume he's face down. And so we're going to just put our little bullet holes right there. Okay. Once the shirt was moved, I observed a hole to the left shoulder area. I don't know. Is there 3 holes, 2 holes, 1 hole? I don't know. North Florida, removed, body from the scene. Okay. I assisted lead evidence technician S. Jarman and Officer Langlois with a portion of the laser mapping for the scene. It's probably the Pharaoh. I later copied my photographs to a photograph disc and created a photo log for those posed. I submitted that photo log and disc to the property room as evidence. On 2/17/2022, I responded to the Jacksonville Beach Police Department property room where I assisted with processing and collecting evidence from the victim's vehicle. Again, we don't know if this is a crime scene person or officer or what. I assisted lead evidence technician S. Jarman, Officer Langlois, and property officer J. Choate. Officer Jarman opened the evidence seals that had been placed on the vehicle the previous night. Okay, so I guess somebody towed it. And the vehicle was opened and photographed. I assisted evidence technician Officer Langlois. Now it's Langlois. I don't know what's this report writing. Collect Langlois several possible latent prints. 2 from the driver's side rear door. So 2 prints from here. and quarter panel area, and the other from the right rear window. So I think one is, get rid of that, one is over here on the quarter panel. Okay. All the contents of the vehicle was removed and placed on an unused tarp within the processing garage area. I hope it's clean. The items were photographed by Officer Jarman, and miscellaneous keys were collected along with a pair of, quote, AirPods, end quote, and submitted to the property room as safekeeping. Is that the only things that needed safekeeping? Why wasn't it evidence? I don't know. While photographing the vehicle, Officer Jarman opened the glove box, and that action caused a projectile to fall to the passenger side floorboard. Okay. So I'm going to make my projectile a different color. I'm going to make this, we need to, because this is our projectile. Let me get that out of there. So, God, hold on. Change our colors. Okay. So we have one projectile here, right? And now we have one that fell out of the glove box. So I don't know. Was there a hole in the glove box? Right? Because we got our bullet hole here and our bullet hole here. So we still need another round if they were penetrating. Okay. The projectile appeared consistent with the trajectory of the hole to the right area of the radio center console area. Where did that hole come from? Did we hear about that hole? So it looks like, doesn't it sound like we have another hole? We have another hole somewhere here. Okay. So that would make our trajectory maybe this way. Okay. Importance of police writing, report writing. It appeared as if that projectile entered into the console area and traveled through the area of the center console before coming into contact with the glove box on the left side. The damaged front passenger window had a hole consistent with a bullet projectile. I don't know if that's the first one or the second one they're talking about here, because it was through the steering wheel, wasn't it? Center console dash area to the lower right of the steering. Okay, I don't know. Bad description. Because we want to know how many rounds are there. I can't tell how many rounds there are and where they went. How many projectiles do we have left? I assisted Property Officer Jay Choate in the shooting incident reconstruction of the vehicle. We utilized strings and dowel to show an approximate degree in which the bullet holes from the vehicle might have been fired from. That reconstruction was photographed by Officer Jarman. I assisted with dismantling the front passenger door, and during that process, a projectile was located within the door frame. So now we have 3 bullets, right? One was in here. Okay. Officers used a crowbar, hammer, claw, and metal saw in order to facilitate locating the projectile within the metal door. Now, why do they think it was in the door? Oh, the front passenger door. Okay, sorry. Okay, I was going to say, why did they think it was in the driver's door? Sorry. Okay, it's over here. It's in here. It's in here. Okay. Additionally, while looking inside the vehicle's driver door, I observed several areas in which there were blood stain that appeared to be falling in a downward motion as if the subject was straight and the blood was dropping straight down. Inside the vehicle driver's door. So, let's not be gross, but so we got blood here, and then it says there's like a wipe, right? Like a wipe or something here. Blood stain that appeared to be falling in downward motion as if the subject was straight. I don't know, it doesn't say straight up. I think that, and blood was dripping straight down. On the driver's seat itself, there appeared to be a swipe pattern blood stain. The swipe pattern blood stain appeared consistent with transfer of blood from a blood-bearing surface, such as the victim's pants, onto another surface, such as the driver's seat. The stain indicates motion as if someone was exiting the vehicle. So that seems to mean he got shot when he was inside the vehicle. Yeah? We don't have any description of blood down the clothes. I'm wondering, shot in the vehicle, shot out of the vehicle, tried to get back in the vehicle. Okay, we've got left shoulder. Right? That's what the report said, left shoulder. We don't know front or back, but with this direction going here, I would assume right here, maybe when he got out. But then how does the blood get back in the car? From the pants. From the pants. That's a seated position. And this is the expert here. This stain indicates motion as if someone was exiting the vehicle. Is there blood down the seat from the shoulder down to the pants that would have wiped out? What do you think? While processing the vehicle, I was called to collect items from the incident scene on Sanctuary Boulevard. Other officers located a Busch beer can in the grass and tree line on the west side of the roadway. Okay, here. At the southern end of Sanctuary Boulevard and on the west side of the roadway in the tree line was a pair of white socks with red and blue stitching on them. There was an area where the socks were located where it appeared to be cleared off of debris and slightly flattened as if a larger item was resting, causing the ground to flatten. The pair of socks, number 12, and the beer can, number 11, were photographed with and without evidence markers. The items were collected and submitted to the Jacksonville Beach Police Department as evidence. I did not observe any shoe markings in the incident area which might have been able to be utilized or collected. I collected 3 touch DNA swabs from the beer can, 1 control swab, 1 swab from the lip of the can, and 1 from the shaft of the can. Those swabs were submitted to the property room as evidence, along with 2 latent prints from the shaft of the beer can. The photographs I took on the second day of processing were again copied to a photo disc, and I completed a photo log. Was the scene held? Was the scene held the entire time? We don't know. The photographs I took on the second day were again copied to photo disc, completed photo log, disc and log were submitted to property room as evidence. Nothing further at this time. Okay, now we're missing supplement 2. Notice. Missing supplement 2. Because here's 3. What happened in number 2? This is by Lindsay Marie Lyon. We've got witnesses, Timothy Daniel Hallahan. No, we got one witness. We've got a crime scene log that was put into evidence. And we've got, looks like there's two. On February 16, 2021 at 19:59 hours, I responded to Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Way in reference to a shooting. I held the perimeter and completed the crime scene log. While I was on the perimeter, I made contact with the witness, Timothy Hallahan, who stated at around 2000 hours he was in his residence and heard what sounded like 4 to 5 gunshots. He advised they were in quick succession, but that he heard a brief pause before the last shot. He stated he initially didn't think anything of it, then saw the blue lights and wanted to give the police information in case it helped. Hallahan stated he didn't hear or see anything else. So 4 to 5. We've got three casings. We've got 3 rounds, I believe. It's hard to keep track of how many because the reporting. And we've got a gap. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, and 1, we think, based on what was reported. So was it bam, bam, and then bam was the gap? We don't know. Okay. Now here's supplement 2. Okay. Okay, this is from Julie Melinda Spurrier. Again, we don't know what time these reports were written. And it says 2206, so I'm not sure if that's her making contact with these witnesses. Looks like maybe a neighborhood canvass was completed. Here's a tow receipt. A 2016 Toyota Tundra. I don't know why that was. I don't know what happened there. Let's see. On 12/16/2021. What? What? That's the wrong date. Is this a different case? No. What the heck? People. Sarge is mad. On 12/16/2021, isn't it February 16, 2022? At approximately 19:59 hours? I was dispatched to Jacksonville Drive, Sanctuary Way in reference to possible gunshots. I arrived at the intersection of Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Boulevard. Who is this? This is, sorry, what page is this? Who is this? Julie Spurrier. Is she the one that wrote the thing that had nothing in there? Maybe she was told to write another one. I can't stand this stuff like this. There's Filbert's. Yeah. It's right at Real Incident Report. This is the nothing to add officer. Upon arrival, I observed a white truck parked in the grass on the west side of Sanctuary Boulevard facing south. I checked the registration and made contact with the owner, Jared Bridegan. I don't even know how. Skirtage stated he did not hear any gunshots and did not see any suspicious activity. Skirtage saw multiple vehicles near the south end of Sanctuary Boulevard and parked his truck and walked down to see if he could help. I asked Skirtage why he thought he needed to help if he did not observe any suspicious activity. Shkurtag said he was, quote, just trying to do the right thing, end quote. I gathered Shkurtag's information, told him to remain on the scene for follow-up questions. When Shkurtag took his Florida driver's license from his wallet, I observed he also had a concealed carry permit. Shkurtag became agitated and stated he didn't understand why he had to stay. As I spoke with other witnesses, Shkurtag, which should be its separate incident report, but it's probably in here for potential suspect information. But let's see. Sounds like someone's taking a ride. When he became agitated and stated he did not understand why he had to stay. As I spoke with other witnesses, Shkurtag continued to insist he wanted to leave and he should not have to be made to stay. Y'all, just cooperate. Just cooperate. Okay? I continued to explain to him he needed to stay until a detective spoke to him. Shkurtag continued to be highly agitated, pacing up and down Sanctuary Boulevard and trying to get in and out of his truck repeatedly. I attempted to diffuse Shkurtag's aggravation by remaining calm and explaining a detective would be over to speak to him as soon as possible. Shkurtag stated he felt he was being punished for trying to help and being a good guy. I spoke to Ryan Fraunheim, who stated he heard 2 to 3 gunshots at approximately 2000 hours. Ryan's son, Carter Fraunheim, heard 4 to 6 gunshots from his bedroom and called downstairs to his dad, asking if what he heard was fireworks. We've talked about eyewitness testimony and memories and people with differences, okay? So is eyewitness, they're ear witnesses testimony. Is it accurate? Is it accurate? Okay, here we got 2 to 3, here we heard 4 to 6. The other guy was it 4 to 5? Ryan's wife, Erin Fernheim, looked outside and observed a white male, approximately 6'2", average build, wearing a short-sleeved black t-shirt and black hat, walking east on Jacksonville Drive towards South Beach Parkway. Erin thought he looked suspicious because he was walking alone at a, quote, brisk, end quote, pace, kept looking over his shoulder towards Sanctuary Boulevard. I gave the description to dispatch and a bolo, be on the lookout, to other officers. Did she identify the person potentially as any of our people that are defendants in this case? Let's file that away into memory here. I spoke to Carrie Hazen, who stated she lived just west of the trees on Sanctuary Way South. Hazen is a member of the Neighborhood Watch and received a text from her neighbor in reference to hearing gunshots. Hazen observed the police lights and walked from her residence to inquire for further information. Hazen did not hear any gunshots or observe any suspicious persons or vehicle. While speaking to Hazen, Thomas Bryan approached me and stated he heard 4 gunshots at 1952 hours. Okay, so we got 8 o'clock, 1952, we got 4, we got 6, we've got, okay, see how crazy this is? Bryan was not in the immediate area to observe any suspicious person or vehicle. I spoke to Kimberly Arena and her son Ocean Arena. Kimberly stated she and her son live on Ashley Oaks and observed the police lights and stopped to inquire for further information. While standing at the northwest corner of Jacksonville Drive and Sanctuary Boulevard, remember we saw that originally, a white male with gray hair and beard stopped in a white car and asked what was happening. Kimberly stated she thought it was a car wreck. The white male stated, quote, hopefully nobody got shot, end quote, and drove away. Did she get the tag? After collecting the above witnesses' verbal statements and information, I relocated to the intersection of Sanctuary Parkway and Sanctuary Boulevard to set a perimeter. I completed a tow log sheet and placed a hold on the victim's vehicle. This concludes my involvement in the investigation. Now that is completely, I don't know what the tow is. Where's the tow sheet? Don't we have a tow sheet? I don't know who got towed. I think somebody got arrested, probably. But that's a completely different story than this. Isn't it? Isn't it? That's a lot different. Okay. All right, we are going to stop right here. We're going to continue. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Got any questions? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. Draw your own little diagram. See what you think. Right now, we're doing our little crime scene reconstruction, and this is why it's so important to have the police report correct and to understand how to put all this information together. Again, if you want to join the Help Solve the Case Investigations Academy, it is going to be starting soon. Information is in the community. I would love to have you there. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.